Welcome into the AZ Wildcats podcast, where today we're talking about the latest scandal in all of college football, Texas Tech stealing a logo from Tucson High.
Welcome on in, everybody, to the AZ Wildcats podcast, live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. I am Damon Fairall. That is Kevin Thomas. And as I said, we are the AZ Wildcats pod, coming to you live from PHNX HQ3 here in lovely, beautiful downtown Phoenix. Kevin, the Arizona Wildcats have the BYU Cougars on the horizon, the number 18 BYU Cougars. We're going to be talking about that matchup, previewing it throughout the entire rest of the week. We also got a little bit of Arizona basketball talk, and a way too early top 25. I guess it's really not way too early anymore because we are approaching basketball season and fast, and we are excited for that as well. But we are going to be talking our Big 12 quarterback power rankings as well today, and that's going to be the real meat of this episode, Kevin.
The power rankings, Damon, because the Big 12 quarterback has the most, Big 12 conference has the most powerful quarterback selection of any conference in America. Always excited to talk Big 12 football, especially when we're talking these Big 12 quarterbacks, because there's just so much talent to go around. But honestly, Damon, we would be fools to start this show anywhere else but with Texas Tech's new rebrand. In case you haven't seen it, this tweet is from Bussin' with the Boys. Texas Tech will be changing their logo moving forward in 2026. Let's start here, Damon. What are your thoughts?
At first, I was just like, what am I even looking at? To be honest, I thought it was kind of a joke. When you sent it to me this morning, Kevin. It looks worse objectively. No, like I understand that they're trying to go back to their throwback, and you know, if my parents, either one of them, is listening to this show, they'll put it here in the chat. I am a vintage man at heart. I love every throwback logo, every throwback piece of merchandise and paraphernalia. I'm obsessed with it. And in this case, in this circumstance, we downgraded. We downgraded. And it's like, usually I'd say it's about a 98% clip that the throwback is probably better looking than the current iteration. But
well, yeah,
this is one of that 2%, clearly.
Yeah, this is the one occasion where the movie interpretation is better than the book, right?
Yeah,
to drop it to a different analogy, this logo is worse objectively than the modern version of it. Like you said, you can go back to the retro logos if they're super duper like sought after and incredible. And apparently Texas Tech fans are happy about this. So that's really what matters most, right? You and I on the AZ Wildcats podcast talking about it does not matter as much about maybe like a Locked On Red Raiders if they're hyped about this, for example, right? But we all have eyes. Texas Tech fans are not. We all have eyes. This logo is dramatically worse than the, I guess, old version of it now, the modern version of it. But Adam Corrales, in my replies on Twitter, shout out to you, Adam, brought this to our attention, Damon. Is this theft? I mean, is this theft? We're not going to talk about Tucson High stealing the Wisconsin Badger. We can't double jeopardy this case. You know what I mean? But is this theft? Did they steal the T from Tucson High? People are talking about it.
People are talking about it, Kevin, and I think a lawsuit is well on the way here. But I actually think that the entire like logo stealing thing, especially at a high school level, is so funny because, for example, South Point Drink logo is the SC, South Point Catholic of Southern California, of USC. And I believe there was like a lawsuit or something that was handed down for taking that logo and repurposing it. I'm sure Wisconsin has approached Tucson High about that as well. I remember back when I was a kid, the Tucson High T used to be, I think, the Rangers T. I'm pretty sure. Like the old Texas Rangers T, and it's since been changed, or at least maybe that was just like on the baseball uniforms itself. But yeah, man, Texas Tech goes from like a 3D shaded kind of cool looking logo to one of the more two-dimensional logos you'll ever see in your entire life.
Double Temple. That's what we're calling Texas Tech now.
I will say I do like the logo of the state of Texas outline with the TT, even the two-dimensional version. I think the other one still looks better, but if they went full time with like, this is our logo, it's Texas, here's the TT right there, like I think that would actually be pretty cool.
I agree with you. I actually do agree with you. I also think that the new, like, I don't know what the call him, but the new little character that hangs out next to the T in that second logo, I think that one's improved.
The Raider.
But yeah, the Raider, sorry. But the main logo, like the one that is plastered everywhere on television, on the score bugs, on the graphics, on the rankings, it got a lot worse and it didn't get cooler. And I think it actually got less recognizable. I think that's like, for me as like a Big 12 fan, that's like the unfortunate part, is because Texas Tech is like, in terms of overall athletic program, right? You and I, like we're Pac-12 fans originally. Me, hell, SEC fan originally, right? But like, we don't have like the Big 12 history like in our brains the way that some people do. However, I can tell you one thing: Texas Tech,
more, huh, Kevin?
Texas Tech burgeoning itself out there as a basketball program, as a reliable football program again, and then you revert in terms of memorability with this logo. I feel like you just become less memorable with this kind of a logo. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it would be kind of impossible to truly come to a conclusion as to like what they will lose in terms of money or brand recognition in a circumstance like this. But I think you're right, Kevin. I think that's a good point. Like, you had almost a logo that was so identifiable. No one has anything like that Texas
Completely
Tech
unique
logo. Yeah, with the way that it's like 3D shaded all the way around. And now it just kind of looks like any other logo. Like, this could be like Tennessee Tech's logo or something, and I wouldn't be like, I'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
It's Temple Tech.
Yeah.
That's exactly Temple Tech. That's what we're going to start calling Texas Tech in 2026.
But you're right. I think they did certainly downgrade from like just a brand recognition standpoint. And this is also just so signifiable of like brand, change over time recently, especially in like modern day, of just like the Jaguar logo, having the sick jumping Jaguar to just being like,
those throwbacks got to come back full time.
Jaguar, just spelt out in block letters across. Like it seems like Texas Tech took a page out of every brand in 2025's book when doing their brand logo change. And I don't, was it even necessary, Kevin?
That's what Ben Wysong's saying in the chat. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And right, the old logo apparently at one point must have been broken because you fixed it and you stumbled upon this modern, I would say, like, not iconic, but very recognizable. It resonates. Everyone sees it and thinks Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Right? Whether Texas Tech football, Texas Tech basketball, they think Texas Tech when they look at that double T when it's all shaded and three-dimensional. But now I'm thinking Temple Tech. And like Ben in the chat said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know. I woke up this morning and I literally thought that was a joke. I thought it was like LeBron's retirement. Hennessy, what are we doing?
We were talking, Kevin, about how upset Texas Tech fans are in defending this.
Soft.
And that, like, everybody consensus is sitting there going, man, this is a downgrade. And Texas Tech fans are like, you don't get it. And I'm reading a tweet right now. I just looked up Texas Tech. Listen to this delusion. The national talking heads want you to hate Texas Tech's rebrand so bad. We went from 4-6 to the villain in 5 years. There's never been a better time to be a Red Raider.
Well, let me pull up my Twitter.
Does it get more delusional than what Ryan Mainville just tweeted right there?
No, because the thing is, like, I think there's an idea of, like, if you like it, I love it. You know what I mean? Like, if this is something that for your program, as a fan of that program, you're all about, sweet. Like, I love that for you. But don't tell me that my eyes are lying to me. Like, when I look at something and I'm like, no, in my opinion, that is worse than the one you have right now. You can't be like, multiple people, I think, in my replies to my tweet, Damon, were like, this proves you just don't know ball and need to do some research. What does this have to do with ball? I'm just looking at two logos and saying one is better than the other. And you're sitting here getting defensive about not only your program, but the identity of the program in relation to your logo. It's kind of psychotic. I'm not going to lie to you about it, but hey, we have the Cactus logo back, and that is fire. No one is saying that that's ugly, by the way.
Yeah.
No one across the country is saying that's ugly. Texas Tech rebrands. Everybody across the country, damn near unanimously outside of Kobe Thiel, is saying this is a mistake. And meanwhile, Texas Tech fans are like, don't you tell us about our program and our logo. We are the villains. We're the Raiders. And it's like, okay, bro, let's take a breath.
Everyone hates us.
Let's take a breath.
We're the new Texas. Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm looking. I'll give them this. I'm looking at the 2D logo. I guess technically it's not really a 2D version. It's more of a, and this is via Brian Peterson of AZ Desert Storm. It's more of an unbeveling. Like if
it
you're
kind of is.
familiar with Photoshop,
Kind of
they
is.
they unbeveled their logo, and it looks good on the field 2D, like the way that it looks now. But I just don't like it like in a conventional sense, just looking at it on a screen. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
I like the grass version of it, but
And you also brought up earlier, like, we don't know if they're going to make or lose money off of this. I would almost guarantee they're going to make money off of this, because now the modern stuff, like the stuff for this year that's on the shelves, is going to fly off like so fast, like hotcakes. You're not going to be able to get that logo anymore, right? People are going to want that golf polo with the current Texas Tech logo on it, so that in 10 years it's the old Texas Tech logo. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I think they make money off of this. And then you also get like that nostalgia farming from people wanting to buy merch with the old like retro logo on it.
From their fans, yeah. I guess that's from their sense that makes sense, right? I mean, but I objectively around the country, people are going to look at this and think less of your logo. But yeah, I mean, take another peek at it. Texas Tech, they unbevel the logo there.
It is an unbeveling.
Yeah, it is. And in Sicko's committee on Twitter, Kevin, they said, we really like it. We just have one change we'd make, and they re-beveled it.
That's incredible. I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, it is pretty good. Should I send you that tweet so you can grab it here for the people? But
throw it into the assignments.
I will. But it's pretty great. All in all, just a fun little logo discussion. But I'm sure Texas Tech fans, if they got wind of this, would be like, we need to get these guys fired.
Yeah, they would start saying that we don't know football or basketball because we have a take about branding.
Idiots, and you're like,
you know what I mean?
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's genuinely crazy talk. But yeah, do we have any more thoughts on the Texas Tech logo?
No,
quick,
I mean that doesn't.
Pull up this tweet.
I guess the only thing I will say about it, Kevin, is that I agree with you in the sense that their Red Raider version, I saw their little like statue that they made in their football facility with the new logo behind with the Red Raider statue in front. I think if they fully lean into this like Red Raider kind of persona, that could be kind of cool. But that's kind of all that's like my last thought on it, I guess, necessarily. Like they less of the TT and more of the guy with the mask riding a horse. You know, that's what I want to see if I'm a Texas Tech fan. But why don't we go ahead and pull up this rebeveling here, Kevin? As you can see, the Seikos committee says, okay, we like it in principle, but Texas Tech, but we have one modification that we'd like to suggest, and it is essentially just a similar version of the exact logo that they used to have.
Whoever's running the Sickos committee, you win funniest tweet that I've seen today so far. So yeah, no, that was what I woke up to. And here is Kobe in the chat, who is someone who believes outside of the Texas Tech fan base that this is a good decision. Kobe says, "What up? Their traditional logo, that was their logo for 70 plus years." And I'm with all that. I'm not here to dispute any of that. My thing is like, just because you've been doing it for a long time doesn't mean it's the right way to do it or that's the best way to do it. But yeah, like I said to you on Twitter, to each their own. It's just a logo. But yeah, I was surprised that like Texas Tech fans were so defensive at like people almost unanimously being like, this is kind of not great.
Here's my thing. Like I look at like a team like Oklahoma State, right? And I'll look up throwback logo Oklahoma State. You know, their current logo is obviously like that kind of more modern iteration of the OSU. I mean, it's not like their form. They had an OSU logo that they've rebranded, but like if OSU was like, we're going back to the cowboy with the chaps and the guns, like I'd be like, that's awesome. That was like a logo they had forever, but like that's an objectively cool logo. Whereas Texas Tech was like, we got two T's, we put them on top of one another, and it's pretty sick. And you're like,
yeah. Ayrton, producer Ayrton of the Sun Show said this earlier, and I think it's a good point, right? Like most of the retro logos that we miss, we know. Like we know the ones that we're like, oh, we got to bring back this one. We got to bring back that one. Texas Tech logo was never one of those for me, but that is neither here nor there.
And Kobe's right. We were talking about this as well, Kobe, before you got in here, that like Texas Tech fans are like a very hostile fan base. So it's not shocking that they are like on the hunt here.
Yeah.
And I retweeted or I quote tweeted a tweet, Kobe, that we just talked about, I think, before you got in here as well, where This guy, Ryan Mainville, said, the national talking heads want you to hate Texas Tech's rebrand so bad. We went from 4-6 to the villain in 5 years. I mean, that level of delusion is just, it's beautiful, Kevin. I love it.
Yeah,
That's what college sports is all about. Everyone thinking that everyone's out to get them. We did the same thing during the FBI scandal, and I still think that they kind of were out to get us, to be completely honest with you. But whatever, I love it. That's what this is. This the fan rivalry of this sport is what makes it so great. And we're gonna get into that a little bit more on the other side of this break, Kevin, because we're gonna get into our QB power rankings, and that will certainly ruffle some feathers. And yeah, I just can't wait for it. I'm juiced up for some QB talk on a Tuesday here on the AZ Wildcats pod. Do not go anywhere.
And if you want a retro logo of your own to represent, maybe like a cactus logo, you can find all that merchandise with our friends over at Rally House. So whether it's modern logos, retro logos, dog collars, jerseys, jerseys, coasters, I'm running out of breath to give you more products, but they have like 39 pages of Arizona Wildcats memorabilia on their website right now at www.rallyhouse.com that you can go scroll through, window shop, please actually shop, but also just scroll through, enjoy all the memorabilia that Rally House has to offer, and maybe you'll find some stuff that you love to represent your Arizona Wildcats, because Rally House is the go-to spot for all your favorite local Arizona gear. They carry only in-state sport teams as well. So like if you go, like especially up here where me and Damon live in Phoenix, if you go to like some other sports memorabilia stores, you're getting Dodgers stuff, you're getting like Oregon stuff. It's disgusting, quite frankly, but not at Rally House. Only the team that you care about at Rally House. Find your local Rally House location and shop their entire product assortment online at www.rallyhouse.com.
Rally House and Branded Bills, a perfect combo, Kevin, because I can get fitted up with all the right apparel and gear, and then I can head on over to Branded Bills and top it all off with the perfect lid. Branded Bills is the only place to shop if you're an Arizona fan looking for a brand new hat. We got a promo code of BBPHNX. It's going to get you 15% off your first purchase over at brandedbills.com, whether it's a snapback, a trucker, a fitted, a beanie, even a t-shirt. Branded Bills has you covered. And of course, as I mentioned, the campus collection is divine, Kevin. And I don't know if I've ever used that word to describe it before, but I apologize to our friends at Branded Bills for not using it before, because that is truly, in every sense of the word divine, is that the case? Because guys, I have one Branded Bills hat on my head right now. You guys see me rocking Branded Bills almost every day on this podcast. This is the state outline hat. It is beautiful. It has the nice little golf rope across. They, of course, have every style for any type of, person looking for a trucker, a fitted, a snapback, a beanie, you name it, guys. And like I said, that special edition campus collection that they have down there only at the Tucson bookstore is truly, truly special, Kevin. You have to check out those styles on your own in person, because you can't even get them online. Check out brandedbills.com. Check out the bookstore, Arizona bookstore, for their special Branded Bills collection, and use our promo code of BBPHNX in the process for 15% off that first order.
And we do have our quarterback power rankings. We're still going to preview this BYU matchup coming up at the end of the show, but you guys know me and Damon. If we don't get these quarterback rankings out of the way immediately, we're going to be here all day, right? So let's go ahead and start with our Big 12 quarterback power rankings after Week 6. Keep in mind we do this bi-weekly, so you're not going to see this next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that, you will see another updated version. Starting off, I will get us kicked off here with my bottom 4.
Classic Kevin, he just...
I lobbed it to you yesterday. Sir,
But then I passed the ball back to you and let you go first in the second half of it.
That's just our offense.
That's a pro move. That's
just our offense. We got ball movement.
That's a pro move on my part.
I
passed it right back to you, and then I was like, look, Kevin being selfish again. I passed it to you with 3 seconds left on the shot clock.
Threw me the grenade.
You had to shoot it, and then I was like, classic Kevin shooting 20% from the field.
No, yeah, it's all good. I'll shoot 20% from the field. Maybe you guys think I shot 20% with my quarterback power rankings here. Zane Flores, you are the worst quarterback in the Big 12 conference. Sorry about it. No offense. A little bit of offense, I guess. I'm saying you're the worst quarterback in the conference. I have to be honest about it. But Oklahoma State, it's not really all your fault. Oklahoma State hasn't been good, and you weren't even the starting quarterback to come into this year. Haas Haney was, and he goes down in the first quarter of Game 1 with an injury, and now you are thrown into this situation, and your quarterback or your coach gets fired, and you have a new head coach situation. So it's not like Zane Flores is not the worst quarterback I've ever seen, but he is certainly right now the worst quarterback in the Big 12 conference. Nico, Marchiol. Nailed it.
Bang.
Nico Marchiol coming in at 15. That's about as excited as I can get for Nico Marchiol. The fact that I got his name right. Taven Jackson at 14. I think he's been fine. He's been fine. You know what I mean? And as Kobe says, Flores is actually out this weekend as well. So
and Marchiol didn't play the last 2 weeks for West Virginia. Just to be fair, but I was looking at West Virginia's game log to see if we should put Khalil Wilkins or somebody else in, and these guys have attempted less than 10 passes. So it's almost as if West Virginia, Rich Rod is going out there and being like, we don't have a quarterback. We're just running a fun dual threat offense.
Does Tavon Austin have more eligibility?
Just doing some option ball. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. I think we'll keep Nico Marchiol on there. Zane Flores will not be on the next iteration of Power Rankings because he will not play the next 2 weeks, but he has played up to this point, so I think that's why he's on this current list.
Correct. And to an extent, these bottom four are kind of in a way, a reflection of our Big 12 team power rankings, because if you are one of the worst teams in the conference, in the quarterback conference, it's likely you don't have one of the best quarterbacks. And then Caden Salter of Colorado comes in at number 13. If you have 3 quarterbacks, you have 0 quarterbacks, and he's just the head of that snake right now. So those are my bottom 4, Damon.
Yeah, I think that's everyone's bottom 4. Why don't you pull mine up as well? I have Zane Flores at the bottom, Nico Marchiol right beside him. Taven Jackson was my 13 last week. He gets bumped down to 14 because we'll discuss further why that was a thing. And unfortunately, I'm a big, stupid idiot. And
we both are.
Brendan Sorsby, I owe you a massive, massive, massive apology, son. But this is Caden Salter. He's been okay. I think he's clearly Colorado's best option, but didn't really play very well last week, Kevin. And that's in part why he bumps down a spot here for me, or it might have been 2 spots honestly. But 18 of 29, 217 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks against TCU. And added 11 yards and a touchdown on the ground as well. So he had 3 interceptions in that game. I think he's fine. I think in the right system, he's probably a pretty good quarterback. And I think that Colorado has been in games versus some pretty solid teams. I mean, they could have won the BYU game. They're ranked. They could have won the Georgia Tech game. They're ranked. They could have won the TCU game, and they have been ranked so far this season. And they've lost all those games tight. I think that shows that Caden Salter's not a bad quarterback, but he's also not really the guy who's getting the job done.
I'm with you. Caden Salter was the man that won the competition, but then was still surpassed by the second string and then inevitably the third string, only to get the starting role back. So, to your point, if Caden Salter was the player that he was advertised to be coming into the Big 12 conference, this would never have been a competition in that quarterback room, no matter how talented Juju Lewis is.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry to cut you off. I was just going to respond to what M said here about Nico Marchiol. Could very well be your Arizona's quarterback next season if Fifita leaves. Why would Fifita leave? That would be my one question that I would ask you. And I understand the Arizona connection there, but I also don't think that Marchiol has done nearly enough or looked good enough to be handed the keys to a starting spot. If anything, he would maybe compete for a spot with another guy, but certainly isn't going to be considered to be a team starter, I don't think, going into next season, unless he drops down a level, but not at a Power 4 level. So I would just like to say I don't think Fifita goes anywhere. I mean,
correct.
His brother's committed to the program. He's ingratiated into the program as kind of one of the legends ever. He's on his way to being first in program history in touchdown passes, Kevin. Would Noah Fifita seem like the type of guy who would just kind of throw that all away when he has a legacy to fulfill almost? I very highly doubt that. So I think we'll see Noah Fifita play his senior season at Arizona personally, but I've been wrong before, Kevin. Moving on. What's your next 4 on this list?
Connor Wegman coming in at 12. And as you
forgot to change the logo, brother.
Oh, I did. Well, I did, and then I didn't export it. But Connor Wegman of Houston, not Cincinnati, on mine.
You tried to put Sorsby back down. This podcast can't stop bringing Brendan Sorsby back down.
But yeah, Connor Wegman comes in at number 12 on my list.
Is this the number one Brendan Sorsby Hayden podcast in America?
Not anymore. It was for a couple weeks going, but he's just shut us up. Like, he shut us up so well and so promptly that what are we going to say?
I considered putting Brendan Sorsby at 16 on my list today, just for joke's
Out of
sake.
spite, yeah.
Just for making me look like a dumbass.
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, that's valid because he made us look like some fools. Devin Dampier at number 11. The only reason Dampier is at 11.
Wow.
The only reason Dampier is at 11 is because the toughest team he faced all year, Texas Tech, he had a really bad game.
He did.
And then they had a bye week, and then the next time he came out and played, he looked really good against West Virginia, still threw an interception, right? I don't know.
Dude, I've been low on Dampier.
It's power rankings, brother. The man had an awful game against Texas Tech, and then he kind of balled out against one of the worst teams in the conference.
Mad at you, man. I mean, that's a Lobo.
You know Uncle Ben. You know Uncle Ben. He's not mad. He's disappointed. Okay, that's Uncle Ben, and I apologize to Uncle Ben for the offense. But yeah, Devin Dampier, he can get right back up to where you all think.
Dude,
he
this
belongs.
guy's hating on Utah. I hope you know what. As much as Texas Tech fans get defensive and get angry, you better hope those Utah fans don't get up to snuff on where you got them in the power rankings and their quarterback in the QB rankings.
People say I'm either a Utah fan or I'm like a BYU sleeper agent or like I don't know. I guess I'm playing both sides. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, he had a bad game against Texas Tech. I know what I saw. He looked awful against Texas Tech, and he played an awful team in West Virginia, and he looked decent. Like, he looked pretty good. He had 4 throwing, 1 rushing, but 1 interception still. I don't know. It's a great quarterback conference.
It's a hot take.
No, listen, I will also say this. I think we've talked about this on every quarterback rankings, you and I, Damon. But, like, being low in the Big 12 quarterback rankings is not a slight against your talent. It's the best quarterback conference in America, right? Devin Dampier is still a, like, upper echelon QB in the nation. However, in the Big 12, based on the last couple weeks of what he's done, and then, he played well against UCLA, and then you play, Cal Poly in Wyoming? Like, I don't really give a damn. Right, so what he's done recently is since conference plays opened has really been more of what's informing this, and he has every opportunity to get it right back in the top 5. Like a guy like Marchiol or Flores or Jackson or Salter, to an extent, like no matter what they do, they're not doing that. They don't have the talent to get back up into that top 5. I always want to say Devon. Devin Dampier does have that level of talent. So, like, yeah, me putting him this low is a result of his poor performances later. There's another quarterback that we also like, that we also beloved, who is lower on my rankings than he deserves to be based on his talent, but he had a bad game recently. We're going to get to that later. To wrap up the bottom half of my second half, Bear Bachmeier, welcome to the top 10, my friend. I feel like he's proven himself, at least to this point in the year. He's played really well. He's played well rushing. He's played well passing. He's led his team to be undefeated thus far. I got to reward him for that, especially as a freshman stepping in, doing what he's doing. Got to reward the guy. And then Avery Johnson, you stay where you are. He's played well recently, but yeah, I feel comfortable with him there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Avery Johnson has been pretty good, honestly. Go look at it. I implore anyone to go look at Avery Johnson's game log and truly dissect. I mean, like there are times, and I've heard people say it, like he has a little bit of the Khalil Tate syndrome, where you almost want him to run the football more. And you're like, why does he seemingly not want to run the football? And then, recently, like he's been utilizing the ground game a little bit more. Last 2 games, 75 yards, 72 yards on 12 and 10 carries respectively. And that includes only 1 sack in between there. But like Avery Johnson, once he started to use the ground game a little bit more, it feels like he's kind of coming together. And he had a great game versus Baylor, 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, 72 on the ground, a touchdown. I think Avery Johnson has proven that he is one of the really good QBs in this conference, but things have just kind of been a disaster so far this season, right?
Yeah.
Let's get into my next 4 here I have on my list. I got Connor Weigman at 12. After is it Weigman or Weisman?
It's got to be Weigman, right? I've never heard anyone say Weisman.
I've heard some people say Weisman, but he went 5 for 12, 71 yards against Texas Tech. Awful game, got hurt. I don't know if he's going to be playing next week or not. I wonder if that affects him for the Arizona game at all, which could be pretty interesting. But overall, not super impressed by Connor Weigman, and that's why he's at 12. I got Bear Bachmeier, who I've been low on all season, bumping up here, Kevin, because he just continues to impress. He continues to take care of the football. BYU's offense, from an analytical standpoint, looks really good despite not having played a lot of upper echelon teams. And Bear Bachmeier, when he has had to play some of these tougher games, like for example these conference games, he's looked really good. He's thrown for 70% completion percentage in both of his 2 conference games. 179 yards, 351 yards, respectively, in those 2 games. Like I think I've been impressed by Bear Bachmeier, and he's better than I thought he was. And then I got Avery Johnson bumping up to 10 because, like I said, I think he's played really well recently. And then this one might be crazy, Kevin. This is my version of Devin Dampier.
I was about to say we each got one now.
Yeah. I bumped Rocco Becht all the way down from like 4 to 9 after Iowa State's loss. We talked a little bit about it before the pod, Kevin, but it's like we can big up you and give you all the respect for all the intangible stuff when you're winning football games. But all the intangible stuff kind of goes out the window when you lose a football game, right? Like Rocco Becht's stats aren't up there with the best in this conference. If he's not winning and those stats are not the best, then how can you put him higher than some of these quarterbacks? And now he maybe has sustained a bit of an injury. I'm not trying to disrespect Rocco Becht. I just think that he's kind of a little bit more in the mid-tier of this conference as we've gotten into conference play now. And as you said, these are power rankings. So you, in sense, have to, kind of go based off of what we've seen recently. And we're all splitting hairs here. And like you also said, the best quarterback conference in America. So you gotta, maybe pick and choose someone to throw to the Wolves here. And for me, it's Rocco Becht, and for you, it's Devin Dampier.
Yeah, like the Big 12 quarterback power rankings, I know I hemmed and hawed over yesterday's actual power rankings, but that's just because there were only so many things I could change. I feel like every time we do these, you and I are like, this guy is either top 5 or he's coming in at 10. And I don't know, we're splitting so many hairs between this guy did it on the road, and this guy has a higher completion percentage. They're all such good quarterbacks. And we are, like you said, splitting hairs. Did you wrap up the top half of that list, or? Yeah, you did with Rocco Becht. You did with Rocco Becht. So let's get into my top 5. We're getting into it. I'm sorry, Noah. I'm sorry, man. I probably should have kept him at 7, looking back on it. I had him at 7 last time we did this after week 4. And to get out ahead of it. Noah Fifita coming in at number 8. Even though I like I just said, I probably should have kept him where Baron Morton is, had him be the same as last time. Because Noah Fifita hasn't done anything to really warrant moving down, even though he did play pretty rough against Iowa State. And that's kind of the motivation for me having him where I have him. I had him at 7 last time. He played against Iowa State and then beat the hell out of the worst team in the conference. I don't really know how to reconcile that. I moved him down 1 because when you played the real team, you struggled. And yeah, like I said about Devin Dampier, Noah Fifita could end up being a top 3 quarterback in this conference when it's all done with these power rankings if he continues to elevate and ball out. Baron Morton coming in, Meatloaf himself comes in at number 7, moving down the list because when Will Hammond was in the game, we had him as the 3rd best quarterback in the conference. Rocco Becht coming in at number 6 for me. I would echo a lot of what Damon said, but he already went there. I will just say that he didn't fall as far on my list as he did for Damon, but he did fall, I believe, from 3 to 6 on mine. And then, hello, Brendan Sorsby. I'm sorry, Brendan Sorsby. Damon's also sorry. We're sorry, Sorsby, because...
Sorry, Sorsby. Hashtag sorry, Sorsby.
Because he's really good.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Cincinnati's awesome. You and I earlier in the year with our good friend Spencer McLaughlin were talking about Houston could be the surprise team in the Big 12. Watch out for Arizona. And the whole time, Cincinnati, the Bearcats are just prowling. And they're winning games. And it looks like Cincinnati could end up being the shocker team of the Big 12 Conference. Yeah. And Brendan Sorsby being the shocker quarterback of the Big 12 Conference. They're pretty good. And Brendan Sorsby deserved it.
They have the best offensive line so far in terms of sacks allowed in the entire country, which, I've much cornered myself in the realm of Jalen Hurts is not as good as Eagles fans think he is. Because
That's true.
The Eagles offensive line is the best in the entire, world. And, that of course a quarterback looks better when he has a number 1 offensive line. I'm not saying that's what's happening with Brendan Sorsby. Hashtag sorry, Sorsby. But I'm not saying that's what's happening with Brendan Sorsby either, Kevin.
No, yeah.
But he does deserve our requisite respect after we've, disrespected him in the past for the good portions of this season. Also, really interesting discussion here, and I can't believe I didn't even register this. Jason Mons, the tight end coach at ASU, former Scottsdale Saguaro head coach of, for a very long time, ended my high school football career. Sad tear. Sal point again. Drink second time today. But Devin Dampier was his quarterback for, I believe, a season at Scottsdale Saguaro when I covered the team, Kevin. He's now going to be going up against his high school head coach and his hometown team. Really interesting kind of storylines there from a Utah versus ASU perspective. But let's get into my 5 through 8 here on my quarterback power rankings. I'm going with Devin Dampier at 8. That's where I had him last week. I am going to stay consistent on that. I think he's a very, very good player. I just don't know that he's that upper echelon of Big 12 quarterbacks. And that's why I kind of have him right below. I got Mom's Meatloaf at 7, who wasn't on my list last week. And I know he had a great game. I'm looking at his stats here, Kevin. Unbelievable. 28 of 40, 345 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 picks against a Houston team and a Willie Fritz defense. He's a ball coach, Kevin. We know Willie Fritz is a ball coach, and he's a defensive coach, and things have been great for Houston thus far. This is their first loss of the season, but I also think that this was a comeback down to earth game for Houston. This was kind of like a measuring stick game, almost similar to our Iowa State version, even though Texas Tech is better, of just like, you guys are here, not here. And I respect Baron Morton. He could move up for me on this list, but I'm going to stand by. I don't think you can win with Mom's Meatloaf. And they're probably going to win the Big 12 championship this year. I checked the odds this morning on an unnamed sportsbook, Kevin. They are minus 110 to win the Big 12 conference championship. That is being the conference championship game. ASU is second. Can you guess what their number's at?
Plus 250?
Plus 700.
And Tech is minus 150?
The number 2 team in the Big 12 to win the conference is plus 700. I'm not going to lie. I look at that and I think that's a little disrespectful to ASU.
It kind of is.
And I'm not saying bet on ASU because it's gross, but I am saying that that is something to maybe take a peek at. But Texas Tech, I think, is the best team in this conference. Baron Morton, has a lot of help beside him, but he is a good quarterback, and he did perform well in this week. As Kobe says, he kind of feels like a passenger on the bus, not a driver.
Whereas like driver?
I watched Will Hammond for a quarter, and I was like, that dude looks like the damn bus driver.
Yep, 1,000%. I was going to say, you read out his stat line that I also saw this morning when I was going through, I was combing the stats. Imagine what Hammond could have done. Hashtag WWHD. What would Hammond do? Because he would have balled out, I feel like. At this point, it's to a point where anytime Baron Morton has a good game, I'm just going to think like, man, imagine that was Will Hammond. You know what I mean? I can't wait until he transfers or stays and becomes a starter there. Like, I just want to see that guy.
He'll be the starter next year.
I just want to see him play. Because when he played, I was eyes glued to my TV for a quarter and a half or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, he'll be the starter next season. So here's the futures list as it stands right now. Excuse me, Kevin. Big 12 Conference Championship game winner, Texas Tech minus 110, as I said. ASU from this morning to now has bumped from plus 700 to plus 650 on the book that I'm looking at right now. And they are still in second. Utah is third at plus 950, tied with Cincinnati. Plus 950 is third. No, yeah. And then BYU and TCU, or BYU's plus 1,200, TCU plus 1,500, Iowa State plus 2,000, Baylor plus 2,200, Kansas plus 2,700, and Arizona plus 3,300. That's where we stand. We're above Houston, though. Above Kansas State, above UCF, above Colorado, above Oklahoma State.
What was Cincinnati again? 950?
Cincinnati's?
Yes.
950, correct. I think if I'm being objective here, the smart money is to put it on ASU.
Correct.
Plus 650.
Correct, yeah.
Because they play Texas Tech in a couple weeks at home. Could be a big noon kickoff game. Could be one of the most hyped games in Tempe in a really long time. And if they win that game, I believe they're tied in the conference. And depending on their Utah result as well. So I think ASU's gauntlet schedule is the only reason that probably number looks like what it looks like, right? Because I think the books are looking at their schedule and saying there's no way they get through that without losing 2 football games.
Correct. They're saying it's going to cannibalize itself like the rest of the Big 12 has. I mean, they've given them reason to think that, right? Because so far, the Big 12 has done nothing but cannibalize itself outside of Texas Tech.
Yeah, I agree with that. But just kind of rounding out, I don't believe I finished up that discussion there. I didn't. I got Brendan Sorsby at 6. I'm sorry, Brendan Sorsby. I can't believe how low I had you. For any of you guys that want to make fun of me, maybe go back, maybe send it to Cincinnati people that will get a hold of it. I had Brendan Sorsby as the number 14 quarterback in the conference last time that we did these QB power rankings. That was because he threw for 70 yards against Nebraska, and also because he didn't look that great versus Bowling Green when I bet on their spread. And maybe I was just a little bit salty about that. And turns out Brendan Sorsby's actually really good. And the Cincinnati offensive line is elite. So, Brendan Sorsby bumps up to 6 for me. And then I got Sam Levitt at 5, who, had a rough start against Mississippi State, but has, even if you look at the stats and you're not like overwhelmed, Kevin, and you're not like, man, this is top 10 quarterback, top 10 pick Sam Levitt, Heisman candidate Sam Levitt, like maybe we were told before the season. I still think you have to give Sam Levitt a lot of plaudits and credit for his ability to go out there in big moments every single time and get the job done, drive down the field, get the requisite scores that ASU needs in big moments, whether it's against Baylor, TCU. And I know I said to you, Kevin, that like Baylor and TCU are not defensive-oriented teams. They're very much offensive-oriented teams. So Sam Levitt besting those teams is, for me, more on ASU's defense being as good as it is than Sam Levitt going out there and out-dueling a Josh Hoover or Sawyer Robertson. But as I said, he still deserves a ton of credit for going out there and getting the job done when he needs to. He has the best scrambling ability maybe in the entire country. So for that, he gets back in my top 5 of the Big 12 power rankings with room to continue to rise.
He does indeed get back into your top 5.
He's very clutch, Pigeon.
Yeah, he's super clutch. And to Glenn's point, his rushing ability is pretty special at this level as well. Apparently, Glenn, he's also cold-blooded. You say he's a dog. He might be a reptile. I don't know. I don't know how to... Yeah, I don't know how to differentiate that. You can't be a dog and be cold-blooded. You either got to be a lizard or a dog. Choose one, Sam Levitt. Damon and I are going to finish our power rankings after our final break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Please leave a like so we can keep doing this great show for you people, and drink your water. Don't go anywhere. Damon, it would not be an AZ Wildcats podcast if we did not talk about our friends over at Pure Edibles.
Certainly not, Kevin.
Pure Edibles, that is the spot for all your edible needs, right? If you want complete candy experience with edible effects, Pure Edibles. Because that is a full-fledged candy company offering gummies, Starburst-like kicks, caramel-style chews, and hard candies as well. Who says happy hour has to end? It does not with our friends over here at Pure Edibles, because they have Noble Road's new Tower IPA all-in-one. That means it's an all-in-one vape for you. All you need is to pull up, purchase it, and use it. It's modeled after that new Noble Road Tower Station IPA. So if you want some hops with your THC, go ahead and get after it. Go find yourself some Pure Edibles from one of the over 130 dispensaries that dispense them.
Pure Edibles, they just continue to hook us up, and we love our friends over at Pure Edibles. But of course, we have some events going on in the near future here at Chicken and Pickle. It is, of course, a pickleball and food place.
Unbelievable.
It's the combination of the both. We've been out there multiple times. We've done some pickleball tournaments out there, Kevin, that have been just so much fun. And if you guys have not experienced pickleball yet, the sport that has taken over the entire world, Chicken and Pickle is the perfect place to maybe go try. If you're a beginner, if you're experienced, they have all types of games for everybody. They have indoor courts, which we all know is so important here in the great state of Arizona, where it is just scorching hot outside. And even if your pickleball skills are questionable, they still have stuff for you to enjoy yourself, whether it is all sorts of indoor and outdoor games. They have like big battleship, Kevin, that you can play outside, for example. They have ping pong, and they have some of the best food in all of the valley. Guys, I tried something new that I learned from Chicken and Pickle. Kevin, they brine their chicken in pickle juice.
Yeah, that's special.
And I had never heard of that before, and I tried it for myself at home, and it truly was special. I've also tried it for myself at Chicken and Pickle, and it was pristine. They also grill a nice little jalapeno for you with your chicken if you get like the rotisserie chicken meal. But they have so much more on the menu as well. We love our friends at Chicken and Pickle. Serving it up in Westgate, right near the Cardinal Stadium, and be on the lookout for all sorts of events that we have going on at gophnx.com/events, where we're doing stuff with Chicken and Pickle, running pickleball tournaments, having watch parties out there, all types of stuff, you name it. Family-friendly fun awaits. Visit chickenandpickle.com to plan your visit today.
And as we get into the second half, or actually our top 5 of the power rankings here, Damon, as you can see, I had Brennan Sorsby entering at number 5, and my top 4, Sam Levitt comes in at number 4. He's been looking a lot more like himself recently, and like you said, I can't deny the fact that he is helping to lead his team to victory in these games. His rushing ability has been increased, and it has been pivotal for Arizona State's offense. So for that, he comes in at number 4. Hopefully, we can see him drop back down to 14 or something like that by the end of the year. But for now, he's at 4. Jalen Daniels has quietly been putting together one of the better seasons of anybody on this here screen right now. And I think that for that reason, he deserves to come into that top 3 spot. I think that he is an incredible talent. Sure, he is a bit older, right? But I think that his ability is on display every week right now for Kansas. He's helping keep them in the Big 12 right now. And then obviously Sawyer Robertson and Josh Hoover. Those are your top 2 no matter how you cut it. I'm keeping Josh Hoover at 1 and keeping Sawyer Robertson at 2 from last week. But those are the top 2, I feel like, no matter which way you look at it.
Where were you when Kevin Thomas ranked Sam Levitt 4 spots higher than our sweet baby Noah Fifita?
I guess you were wherever you are.
That's the question that you have to, all you fine folks at home have to ask yourself. Where were you? This was a pivotal moment in the AZ Wildcats podcast's history. This is the moment that Kevin turned his back. This is the moment that Kevin gave in to the creeps and sickos that are the Arizona State fan base that peruse this chat. It just hurts. It hurts because I thought I had a warrior. I thought I had a guy who was ready to go down with the ship with me. And it turns out that there's only one captain on this ship here.
I mean, if he loses them another game, he's going back down. I don't know what to tell you. He's played well recently. I don't know what else to say about that. I don't really know what else to tell you.
It just hurts.
That's fine. I'm sorry about that, but that's what it is.
I understand. I'm obviously kidding, but I understand the idea that like we have to give some credence to the more recent results, but at the same time, Noah Fifita's loss to Iowa State looked nowhere near as bad as Sam Levitt in his loss to Mississippi State.
Fair.
And those are pretty comparable teams, I think, in caliber of like opponents. So for that standpoint alone, it's hard for me to put like Noah Fifita was not the reason Arizona lost to Iowa State. He was one of the reasons. He didn't play a good game, but his receivers were trash. His special teams put him in a horrible spot from literally the first play of the game through like the 8th play of the game. It was 8-0 with 3 terrible special teams plays. And it's like, I don't think that he was the reason for that. Whereas I do think Sam Levitt was the reason ASU lost that game.
Yeah.
Unless you want to chalk it up to Xavier Alford falling down on the last play of the game, which that kind of stuff happens. It's like, that's like a fluke accident. Whereas like Sam Levitt consistently did not play well for 4 quarters in that football game. So that's why I have Noah Fifita, Kevin, 1 spot higher than I have Sam Levitt in my power rankings at number 4, because Noah Fifita just came off playing his best game of the season, and those were my power rankings from yesterday. He just played his best game of the season statistically, and I think just basing it off of screw Weber State, that game matters none to nobody. And I know Oklahoma State's terrible too, but it's still a Power 4 team versus a Big Sky team that's terrible. So I'm still putting more into that and saying that's his best game. 376 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's had 3 touchdowns on the ground. I tweeted it before the show. Kevin, he's top 10 in passing touchdowns in the entire country right now. Nationally, he's tied for 8th. The only players that are above him are the 3 players I have above him on this list. There's 4 players in the entire country that are in the entire conference that are top 10, top 8 in passing touchdowns across the entire country, and it's my top 4 on the list. And getting back into this list, I'm going Jalen Daniels at number 3, just like Kevin. He has had an insane season. He's second actually in touchdown passes, Kevin, and only has 2 turnovers to boot, which is really, really impressive for a guy who's been as dynamic as Jalen Daniels has. Because look at his yards per attempt, dude.
Yeah,
he barely throws the football, and yet he ends up with like 300 passing yards every game. It's insane. Jalen Daniels has been unreal this year, and I feel like Kansas has kind of let Jalen Daniels down in a way.
They have.
Despite the Missouri game, he had that one interception that really kind of screwed Kansas.
But I think to your point about which one was it? Was it the Chris Hunter drop when we played Iowa State, and you were like, well, Noah Fifita throws a pick a couple plays after that, but he should never be in that position because Chris Hunter dropped the ball. The same thing happened to Jalen Daniels in that Mizzou game. Your number one transfer, Emmanuel Henderson, on the sideline, drops a ball that hits him in the middle of his 2 hands. Goes right through his fingertips on the way out of bounds. And then the next player, the play after that, Jalen Daniels throws that pick. So I agree with you. I do think that KU is actually, at times, like in pivotal moments this year, let Jalen Daniels down. He's not been perfect, but yeah, they have let him down at points. And to Pigeon's point in the chat, Jalen Daniels is also like in his 25th year of college. So there's that as well.
Yeah. And then just kind of rounding this thing out, I have your same top 2, but I flipped them. I got Josh Hoover moving down to number 2 here. This is no disrespect to Josh Hoover because of anything that he necessarily did last week. We do these every 2 weeks. He had 4 touchdowns, 275 yards, 0 turnovers against 5 touchdowns if you count his rushing touchdown against Colorado. All 5 of the touchdowns accounted for by Josh Hoover. He's unbelievable. But at the same time, I was at the ASU game, and he in the second half, he got nothing going. And that's not to say that like ASU's defense isn't great. They are. But for me, Josh Hoover, if he belonged in the number 1 spot, he wins that football game. Up 17-0 with the ball. 0 touchdowns in that game, Kevin, through the air, 1 on the ground, and had 2 interceptions, was sacked 6 times. Like he was pretty bad in the second half of that ASU game. And I know that ASU had a ton of momentum and the defense was firing on all cylinders. But if I was to go look at Sawyer Robertson's game that he had against Arizona State, Sawyer Robertson had 25 of 39, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick against the same defense. And I know that it was a very similar result. They both lost by a walk-off field goal. But Sawyer Robertson, for me, against the best defense in the conference thus far this season, or top 2, top 3, depending on how you slice it, Sawyer Robertson was better. So that's why he bumps up to number 1 for me, and Josh Hoover goes to number 2. But I agree with you. They're absolutely the numbers 1 and 2. Jalen Daniels probably has to be number 3. Like, I think that top 3 is very solidified, and then you can start splitting hairs and making arguments all around them.
Yeah, because this quarterback, or this conference of quarterbacks, like we said earlier, is the best, right? It's the deepest. It has the most talent. It has the most high-end ceiling players on the list that we had here. And as we go back over them, these are my power rankings as to where, Devin Dampier might be an albatross on this, but then we have Damon's power rankings of his teams and then his quarterbacks. I honestly, Damon, I love your take about Meatloaf.
Meatloaf's
Can we
just
ban
along for the
Meatloaf?
ride.
Can we ban Meatloaf from the top 5 until they start Hammond?
Dude, Meatloaf is just along for the ride, bro. He really is. Like, I'm so sick of pretending that he's not. And like, terrible decision maker. For those of you that are not familiar, they did like a blind thing with him and his coach, and they were asked essentially like, what one meal rest of your life? What are you choosing? Texas Tech's coach says, "Oh, I think Barron's going with a nice filet, maybe with a baked potato, some bacon bits on top, something nice at a steakhouse." And Baron Morton answers and goes, "My mom's meatloaf." You can't win with that guy. You can't.
I mean, to your point, if you look up Baron Morton meatloaf on the internet, I think your tweet is like the 4th top result that pops up.
Dude, Kevin.
And I quote, "One meal for the rest of your life, and you're going mom's meatloaf? It's official. Texas Tech can't go anywhere with Baron Morton under center." But honestly, that's not a bad take from my guy Damon Dog. The guy chose meatloaf out of all things.
Stamp it. Kevin, I just thought of the joke of what is Sam Levitt going full Chet Holmgren style if you asked him what his one meal for the rest of his life is? Oxtail?
Potentially.
That's why I started laughing right now.
Potentially.
If Sam Levitt and Kenny Dillingham were doing that, what do you think the answers would be?
I feel like Kenny Dillingham probably would have a really good answer.
He'd say like chicken fingers.
You think?
Yeah.
I think he's saying like tomato soup and grilled cheese.
Yeah.
Like something
no,
comforting, something warm for the stomach. Like,
but it's
homey.
a children's. He's choosing a children's food. And then Sam Levitt's going like, I'll throw the ball to you, sir.
Can I be honest with you, Max? I think you just described Cam Scadaboo. Max said he eats tortillas off the sideline ground. I feel like that's how they feed Cam Scadaboo on the Giants. And that's not even a diss to Cam Scadaboo. I think that guy, ever since he got to the NFL, like, and this is a credit to him, he's been showing all of his personality off, and he's hilarious. He's kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. Like, he gives the vibes of, like, you know, a really bad kid that just has way too much energy and is running around and being loud and, you know, disruptive all the time.
Yeah.
But at the NFL level, that's kind of hilarious. And as a casual NFL fan, I don't mind it. And it's really cool. I was talking to Eric Ruby about this, and we can get into BYU here after this. I was talking to Eric Ruby about how cool is it objectively, guys, that, like, people love Cam Scadaboo in the NFL and people love JCM in the NFL. I feel like that at its core is pretty cool, that two of the hottest rookie running backs from, like, a talk standpoint, we both sides have some stake in each one. So I think that's pretty cool. I didn't
realize how mad Bees was at me.
Bees is really upset about...
It's okay, Bees.
Yeah, Bees is pretty upset about the Fifita over Levitt of it all.
I explained my reasoning. Your quarterback lost you a game this season by himself, essentially. I have them neck and neck, brother. Are you really that upset about it? Go look at their stats. Go look at their stats.
I mean,
that's not a crazy take.
It's really not. It's really not a crazy take. I'm not going to lie to you. And Sean,
I also am not saying that Noah Fifita is unequivocally, without a doubt, no question better than Sam Levitt is at football. And when you start doing the talent thing, is that anything other than Noah Fifita short? Or, like, seriously? Because the arm talent, I think Noah Fifita has a better arm than Sam Levitt. Personally.
He does.
I think he absolutely does.
I think you can say Sam Levitt.
He doesn't have the athleticism that Sam Levitt does.
Yeah.
But it's not like he's unathletic. He's moved the ball well on the ground this season, and he's pretty good at manipulating the pocket, as we saw versus Oklahoma State when he avoided 4 sacks and threw a touchdown pass. I think it's crazy that you think that's crazy, sir.
Well, I'm glad that we all think that we are crazy, Damon. But yeah, no, it's not crazy.
He is a better NFL prospect. If that's what is this the NFL prospect power rankings, or is this the Big 12 quarterback power rankings?
We should do those and just put Mahdi and Fifita.
Because if I'm doing that, then Bill Krosky-Merritt was number 1 over Cam Scadaboo in the NFL running back prospect power rankings last year. Is that fair? Or were we doing based off of what happened last season and Cam Scadaboo was far more impactful and better than Bill was for Arizona? Like, seriously, I think that's like the same take almost.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. And I think like you said, it's not a prospect power rankings. It is it's literally what have you done for me lately? You know what I mean? And you can interpret that whichever way you want it.
I also have ASU as number 2 on my power rankings that I do weekly and have had them consistently top 3 for 4 weeks now, I think, Kevin, despite their rough start to the season. So I don't think you can say that I'm trashing ASU or being like disrespectful. I'm saying you guys have possibly the best defense in the country, and I do think you are in the conference, and I do think you have the best coach in the conference. So this is kind of back to my Jalen Hurts Eagles thing. You have the best O-line, you have the best D-line, you have the best wide receiver duo, you have the best running back. You also have the best quarterback. You have the best player at every position across the entire conference. Sam Levitt's the best. Your running back situation is the best. Your O-line's the best. Your D-line's the best. Like, it can't be everything. Some people have to get more credit than other people. Kenny Dillingham in that defense, for me, get more credit than Sam Levitt for how good ASU is. Fair or not?
Fair. Also, bang. Damon, I have no other notes on that.
I love you, Bees.
Absolutely got fired up. I love it. I know. I believe it was AZ Cats Dan, or sorry, I apologize, but it's not on my little screen right here. But I think he was saying I was feisty earlier. Damon's bringing the feist to the end of the stream, and we are going to preview BYU versus Arizona right now in overtime on the AZ Wildcats podcast, because that's just how we do it. That is just how we do it, Damon. In overtime almost every day. You know we're giving you an hour plus Arizona Wildcats athletics content every day, especially on game days where we do pre- and post-game shows. Damon, you and I just love ball. We're sickos. We can't stop yapping.
Who do you think would be more mad at me if you got that up against all? I know. Put like ASU fans and them just wanting to get mad at me in general aside. Sam Levitt, Baron Morton, or Brendan Sorsby.
Who would be most mad at you for?
Yeah, like fan base wise. Or do you think Sorsby is now fairly ranked? So that's
I think Sorsby's now fairly ranked. I think you've had a similar experience with Sorsby that probably many people nationally have. Of like, I'm not saying you were saying this, but like people probably looked around and said, "Who's this Sorsby guy? He's probably mid." And then he's just absolutely going off, and they're just winning all these games, and now all of a sudden it's like, all right, we're paying attention to Brendan Sorsby. I think it might be Levitt. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be.
Just because Fifita's above him.
Yeah.
And I think the visual of that is just, especially because not only on our graphic, it's like 4 and then 5. So it even looks worse.
Yeah, you're farther away.
Even though in reality, like I have them genuinely exactly next to one another, but whatever. This is what we do. We go on this show, we bring a hot take about a quarterback, and we get yelled at by the fan base of the team that thinks that we disrespected them. If Cincinnati fans existed, they would have absolutely dunked on us for our horrific Brendan Sorsby takes.
They're too busy eating their spaghetti with chili and cheese on top of it, Damon. But speaking...
And Max has a good point. The difference between Sam and Noah is that Noah has Keona Pete. Sam did, and maybe that's why Sam's 2024 was better. But now things have changed in Arizona.
Was Sam Levitt only motivated by the recruitment of one Koa Pete? Is that what I'm learning? Once Koa Pete committed, Sam Levitt was just like, I'm good. I don't need to play that hard. BYU's coming to town. BYU's coming to town. It's the biggest game of the year now for Arizona. That was Iowa State. You lose that game. Now this becomes the biggest game of the year. You didn't get it done against Iowa State on the road. You have a chance to get it done at home against BYU, who has a top-tier elite defense, but offense still largely unproven in a lot of ways, right? Bear Bachmeier, talked about him earlier in the quarterback power rankings. He's been playing very well so far for BYU, helping lead that team, doing it in the rush, doing it in the pass, in the short yardage situations. He's been very tough as well as the young freshman. Pretty impressed with what BYU's been able to put together in such a short time, considering the Jake Retzlaff situation felt like it happened right before the season. And you kind of had to throw like a new offense together in a lot of ways without Retzlaff. But BYU is very good, and if Arizona can make a good account for themselves in this game, it goes a very, very long way towards, gaining back a lot of that good faith that you had going into that Iowa State game. Is that like a interpretation that you share for this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's as far as the season thus far, it's the Super Bowl because you're at home, you're against a ranked team, you're coming off of a blowout dub. You have a really good record. As objectively, you've played close to no one. You've handled business in those games, but 4-1, man. 4-1 is 4-1. And if you take down BYU, now you're tied with them. Now both teams have one loss, right? Like that puts you towards the upper echelon of the conference. And if Arizona was to win, I feel like that's almost the type of W that would be like eye-opening for the rest of the conference in a way of like, oh man, like not saying that they're going to win the conference. They're probably not like Cincinnati style, but I think a lot of people's like interpretation of maybe what Houston could be this season, I think maybe actually could be Arizona, right? Like that surprise team that no one really thought would be good, but has just a really good defense that's, doesn't give up anything easy and kind of sneaks their way into like the top 5, top 6 of the conference. I think it's entirely possible, but it all starts with a W against BYU this weekend, because if it's a loss, we could very easily just be talking about the doomsday side on the opposite.
Yeah.
Like if you win, you're talking Super Bowl, we're rushing the field, we're taking down the goalpost, we're fighting for a ranking next week, even though we absolutely would not get it. But we're sitting there going, you rank us. It's egregious if we're not in the top 25. If you lose, I'm sitting there and I'm going, is this team going to make a bowl game? Like, I mean, it's depending on what it looks like, right?
The schedule is still mid.
If BYU comes into Tucson and just kind of dominates.
Yeah. Dominates would be one thing, though.
I'd be like.
Dominates would be a different story. To your point, like if Arizona loses this game because BYU's defense is so legit and they're just choking Arizona out, right? But Noah Fifita is trying to make some plays. The receivers are trying to make some plays. The run game is like 4 yards a pop at least. Like, and the defense is fine, but maybe Bear Bachmeier drives him into field goal range for a game winner, or, Michael Salgado Medina misses a game winner or game tire or something like that.
Yeah.
Then I think you and I are still on here talking about, well, you just went toe-to-toe with a ranked BYU team who's really tough. You don't really know what you're getting out of Bear Bachmeier yet. Like, that can be a question mark. There's ways, I think, to still look at Arizona and think that is a bowl-eligible team. That's a team that can still win 7 games this year, right? But if Arizona does go out and get blown out, like you were saying, if that, like, because that is a possibility still, right? Then you and I are talking about what's real with this team, right? What's real with this team versus what's fake for this team. And I think if you're an Arizona fan like Damon and I think right now the defense feels real, right? I think right now the running game, that feels somewhat real. I think in large part, the 2 biggest question marks is, can we get Noah Fifita's connection with his receivers to be consistent?
Yeah.
And can we at least get a Band-Aid fix for the special teams? You know what I mean?
That's the tough one, because it's like, it doesn't seem like much is changing from a personal standpoint the rest of the year. But you hit a 56-yarder or a 57-yarder, right? And that's something to hang your hat on and take with you and build momentum towards, right? Like, because it has felt like a confidence issue for Michael Salgado Medina. There's no way he cannot connect on like a 30-yard field goal consistently. Same with the long snapper, who's been, very, very lackluster this season. It's not all on MSM. It's the whole unit, right? And so I just think that, seeing one go through from that distance, hopefully it kind of catapults you into just playing better. And hopefully Isaac Lovison can continue to kind of, take over that punter position and just be not even like, you don't need to be world beating. Just be trustworthy, Give me 40 yards a punt, catch the ball and just put it in the right spot. That's all I ask. Don't boot it out the back of the end zone when you're punting against a short field.
Yeah.
And the kicking game, it's certainly going to be something that we're monitoring all season long.
No, yeah. And I think in relation to this BYU game, I want to see 2 defenses going head to head. I want to see like a defensive tete-a-tete, right? A real battle between these 2 units of Danny Gonzalez and what BYU has going on over there. Because I think that is where this game is going to be won, right? On the defensive side of things. I think offensively, Arizona, copy-paste from last time we played Iowa State, right? The run game is going to be key in this one against BYU, right? Because the passing game, BYU is pretty damn good defensively against the pass. Number 18 defensively in EPA against the pass. And then also, when you talk about third down success rate, they're pretty much top 25. They're ranked 26th.
Yeah. BYU
is situationally very good, and they're tough against the pass. And I think that the one place you might be able to get them is in the run. It's not like they're bad against the run either. But when you have guys like Ishmael Mahdi, I think you're going to have to lean on him in this one. I don't really see. I know that in our headline we're asking the question of, can Noah Fifita pick apart this BYU defense? I think he has the capability to do that. I don't think that's the game plan you're going to see, though. I think this is going to be like a 3 yards in a cloud of dust and then just defensive battle kind of a game where maybe every once in a while Noah Fifita takes the top off and you're going 30 yards to Trey Spivey or 30 yards to Watley or Wysong, right? So I think that's kind of what it is, and people in the chat are wanting to know, what if it is a rain game? I saw Deborah talking about that earlier. Harvey Manfred Jensen is talking about it here.
That benefits them personally.
I think so too, because I think so too, because it keeps it in that 3 yards in a puddle of mud, I guess in that case. But it kind of takes away that over the top, like you can't really bank on that as heavily as you would be able to if it was a dry turf environment.
If I'm looking at BYU's team and I'm trying to think of advantages that Arizona could have over them, part of that is that vertical passing attack. Because Bear Bachmeier is not the guy yet who's just going to start airing it out, right? And Noah Fifita, while we don't see it maybe consistently the way we would like to sometimes, he absolutely can be that guy for you. If it's going to rain though, like I think that the quarterback for BYU who hasn't turned the ball over once all season and is 235 pounds, like that's and as a runner, that's probably beneficial to them, right? Because
it is.
Fifita, like as much as we talk about how he's good at not taking hits, he's good at like not fumbling and stuff. Like he is still a smaller statured quarterback, and in a game like that, having your quarterback be able to take off and run with it is an inherent huge advantage that you're going to have. So I would say that from an Arizona standpoint, rain would certainly be like a bad thing, and we should be rooting for clear skies because I want to air this thing out. And I think that, like you look at the two teams, they're both elite defenses. That's the calling card of both these teams. So whose offense is going to be better against these elite defenses? And personally, like I would prefer that it gets to be like an air it out contest between the junior quarterback on my team who's had tons of experience in these type of games, going toe to toe with Michael Penix, Caleb Williams, like some of the elite quarterbacks of college football recently. And meanwhile, you have Bear Bachmeier who really hasn't been asked to do that in a game that, was like, it was life or death essentially for BYU. Like you got to just start chucking the ball. So I don't know. That's an interesting component of this game for sure. But definitely good on good here from like a defense versus defense perspective. BYU currently, Kevin, -2.5 point favorites against Arizona on the road, -125 money line. The Cats +105, barely sneaking into that plus money number. I think we kind of fell for it with the Iowa State game and the way that line was moving of like, oh, the Cats have a chance here. And they absolutely didn't, clearly.
Yeah.
But at home, I think you need things to be different, but you also just obviously want things to be different. So I'm hoping that this is a close one and that line is very telling that we're at the very least going to get a solid football game on Saturday.
We should get a really fun football game, a really competitive one. And when you talk about these defenses and how good BYU's is and how the running game of Arizona is going to have to show up in this one is what I was saying. Part of the reason I'm saying that is because Jack Kelly, who's a star linebacker for BYU, he's really I believe he's the green dot at one point for BYU as well on that defensive side of things. He had a shoulder injury against West Virginia in that game, and he is doubtful for this game against Arizona. And that is really, really big for the Wildcats as Isaiah Glasker will kind of step up one into that, main linebacker role because before that injury, according to Nick Lee of SB Nation, who did an article with AZ Desert Swarm previewing this one, they have the best 1-2 linebacker combo in the country when they are firing on all cylinders. Even if you don't believe that, they're certainly in the conversation. Missing one of those two guys is huge if you're coming on the road to Arizona, who has a tough run game to go up against. And on the other side of things in the run game, BYU's averaging 234 yards a game on the ground, in part because Bear Bachmeier is such a tough physical player, but also because their offensive line in the trenches in that running back room, tough as well. So this is going to be a brutal. It's going to be a tough, physical, brutal game, I feel like.
Yeah, I was just going to say, stop if you've heard this before. BYU's O-line is good.
Yeah.
Because
the trenches.
Yeah, I mean, they recruit a bunch of, Paulies and Mormons that go on mission for a couple of years and are 26 when they come back and play college football. I mean, they consistently have really good lines. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be a fun one. And as we talked about with the ESPN FBI, Kevin, earlier last week, I believe it was more 60-40 last week, and it has thus kind of moved back to BYU's favor. And you have your 69.7% chance to beat Arizona. But the preseason had it at 73.1%. So
I was wondering if that was pre or post Retzlaff's departure, though. Like, how preseason was it? You know what I mean?
It is interesting. It certainly is interesting.
I'm assuming if they had Retzlaff, it might be like 82% preseason before Arizona played a game coming off the year they came off last year. So I'm assuming that's post Retzlaff departure, but not really truly sure where ESPN was getting the preseason date from. But yeah, I mean, there is a chance, right? Arizona has a good chance if they come out and play well to really shock the conference and knock off BYU in this one, Damon. I know we're going to continue to preview this matchup the rest of the week, right? But do you have any internal notes right now for us in terms of like where this game has to be decided? Any additional stuff that you want to talk about?
I just think that Arizona's defense is just going to have to go out there and continue to play like they have all season long. And in general, Arizona's going to have to play its best game of the entire year. Like, that's obvious, I think, but especially from the offensive side of the football. But it really will truly, in my opinion, be like a defensive decided game between BYU's defense versus Arizona's defense and which team looks more like they have all season long, right? Because I have a feeling that, one, if not both of these defenses is going to just go out there and do what they've done all season long. And that's going to be the true decider of the football game. So I'm excited for it, man. Kevin, I did have one last football thing that is not related to this game that I would like to pull up on screen if you could just grab it for the people, because I'm pretty hyped, man, and I think this could be pretty damn fun if it ended up being the case. But we also have some basketball stuff that we're going to get into. I know I teased that we're going to do a trending pod later in the week when it comes to the recruitment of 5-star Caleb Holt. And that will be the case. We'll get that up for you tomorrow at our regularly scheduled 2 p.m. showtime for you guys. So make sure you're on the lookout for that, as well as ESPN dropped their top 25 college basketball rankings, and we'll get into that on Thursday's show. Save that for Thursday. But Arizona, I think, fairly respected compared to maybe some of the other more national publications. But Kevin, this is what I wanted to end it out on today. Bowl projections. And the Cats, the Sun Bowl itself tweeted this out, bowl projections ahead of week 7. They got Arizona in 3 of 4 major predictions, Kevin, going to the Sun Bowl in El Paso. Thoughts, brother?
Arizona's so good, we're in 3 bowl games right now, according to this. I mean, SMU is so good that they're in 2. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, the idea of Arizona facing we talked about, this is very poetic in a way, Damon. We started the show talking about logo theft and, how high schools are pretty prolific at doing this. Let's talk about SMU, who my high school stole the hell out of their logo. And so this would be Arizona pretty much versus Parkway Central in a lot of ways, right? And so I'm all about that. And it's really cool to see that people actually projecting Arizona to make a bowl game, because I know a lot of people preseason were not doing that. So yeah, anytime we get new bowl predictions, feed them to me. But in general, just let me know when we get the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Playing Clemson would be our version of playing Oklahoma in the Alamo Bowl. And I have a feeling that Cade Klubnik probably would not play in that game. And then we could maybe get a W in a very similar fashion. And then ASU fans could be mad all over again about how we talk about how we beat Oklahoma in a bowl game. And they can stir and go, nah, no one played in that game. Well, they played all their backups. And you're like, cool.
Goes down as a green stripe on College Football Reference.
Beat Oklahoma in a bowl game. And let's do it to Clemson, too. That would be electric.
It'd be huge, Damon. Feed me all the bowl projections.
Bowl would be sick.
I'm with it. But I want the Pop-Tart Bowl. I want to see Noah Fifita, Avery Johnson style, biting the Pop-Tart that just came out of the gigantic toaster.
I think the Sun Bowl would be cool because it is unequivocally, undoubtedly, the best college football stadium that was built into a mountain, without a doubt. And I don't even think there's a close second.
There can't be too many, right?
Iconic.
Yeah, Sun Bowl iconic. Let me get eyes on this to refresh.
It is really cool.
Refresh my. That's pretty incredible.
That would be a fun bowl game. So I don't know. Just those are some good teams. Those all 3. I think everybody that they put on there. It was Clemson, SMU twice, and who else was it? I guess we weren't on the other one, but SMU and Clemson both were college football playoff teams last year. No?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Clemson was a preseason national title pick for a lot of people. Did not go that way. Damon.
Glenn, how many bowl wins does Kenny Dillingham have?
Ooh. Asking the tough questions today.
Well, I'm just curious.
Asking the tough questions today. But yeah, I appreciate that, Damon. I'm happy that Arizona's getting some love, getting some shouts from the ESPN folks over there, the 4-letter folks. You got anything else for us before we wrap up?
No, I don't. We've done enough trolling today. I apologize to all my ASU friends. I appreciate everybody for watching, even you sickos. You guys make this show fun, and we love the back and forth. And Bees, I'm sorry, I love you. I know I got fired up, and we were talking some ball, but it's been a lot of fun today. And I Kevin, as much as we have this back and forth consistently, I enjoy it personally. I think it's fun. I think it's what college football is all about. And this is what this whole day was kind of about, making fun of people in a way, in a sense.
I'm with it. It
was
it was a Texas Tech hate fest.
Hashtag
honestly.
Sorry Sorsby.
Yeah.
Your Texas Tech's new logo sucks.
New logo sucks. Your quarterback's a meatloaf loving mama's boy, and that's just what it is. Texas Tech.
Yeah. Certainly. But appreciate everybody for being here today on this fine program. Like I said, at 2 p.m. tomorrow, we're going to be dropping a trending podcast on Caleb Holt, 5-star, canceling his Auburn visit just a couple days after he takes his Arizona visit for the Red-Blue game, of which we know it was incredibly hyped inside of McHale for that one. So hopefully Arizona trending in the right direction there. Stay tuned for that one, 2 p.m. tomorrow. And then we'll be back with another live show at 2 p.m. on Thursday and Friday. We're going to have Justin Spears on later in the week. And of course, we will preview Arizona, BYU for the entire course of the rest of the week. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you guys for talking some crap. If you don't necessarily agree with what me and Kevin are saying, always
too far
to the conversation.
Too far.
And we are all for hilarious jokes such as this one: McHale North greater than McHale South. But we all know that's not true. Kevin, that's gonna do it for us today. Follow Kevin at KevoPost. That's KEVOPOSTS. Follow me at Damon Dog, and follow us at PHNX_Wildcats. Except for TikTok, where we're at AZ Wildcats Pod. Appreciate everybody for watching. We'll be back on a Thursday at 2 p.m. But until then, peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. Texas Tech, your logo sucks.
We all silly like the mayor.